Welcome to the tutorial on pro tips to get the most out of ComeUp. This tutorial will help you take your ComeUp business to the next level. Before watching this video, we recommend watching our first two free tutorials. You'll find their links in the ComeUp seller profile interface. This tutorial will look at a number of tips and tricks to be better organized, boost profitability, communicate via ComeUp Media and on other platforms, appear higher in Google search results and in ComeUp service rankings, and last of all, help you determine when and why you should go pro. Let's start with being organized. When you want to start earning money online, this is rarely one of the first things that comes to mind. You mainly think about making sales and the best way to have as many orders as possible. However, being well organized is essential because that is precisely how you boost your orders. When you're poorly organized, not only does it lead to problems with your orders, you also tend to forget important steps like quality control. When you're poorly organized, you take on fewer orders because each order ends up taking you longer. Fewer orders equals less money. More time spent per order equals a lower hourly rate. This is why you need to understand how being well organized is one pillar to success. Since we just mentioned hourly rates, what is your minimum hourly rate? Of course, everyone sets their own ambitions based on their own experience and goals. But if we refer to average income, what would that be for your own country? Well, given you can choose to set your starting price at $5, even at this price, you still have to be profitable. If someone takes the cheapest service, a basic offer with no options, you would only earn $4. That means you should only spend about 10 minutes on it. Is that even possible? Of course, especially since you improve with time, you optimize your offers, you adapt your rates, and you can even choose to set your starting price higher than $5. In fact, do not fall into the trap of setting a higher price for your service to feel like you're earning more if ultimately you still end up spending far too much time on the order. If you earn $4 for 10 minutes work, you shouldn't spend more than 2 hours for a $40 order. You shouldn't calculate this with a single order. Instead, you should look at your monthly average. So let us be clear and take a concrete example. How much do you have to earn at least for your income to fall within the average rate? Let's take the figures for freelancers in the US, just for the sake of illustrating the point. In the US, the average net income is $4,063 a month. On average, freelancers in the US have to work 173.3 hours every month to reach that average net income. That gives an average gross rate of $23.44 an hour. So how many orders on ComeUp would it take to earn roughly the same as roughly $23.44? Someone who hasn't fully understood how the website actually works could make the following miscalculation. An order sells for $5 minus the $1 commission brings it to $4, which means between 5 and 6 orders to earn the same as an average salary. However, in 2023, average orders on ComeUp.com were roughly $70 each. And don't forget, the average order price is even higher for sellers on a ComeUp Plus plan. To top it off, they only pay $1 in commissions for each order, no matter the order value. Based on these figures, even if you spend on average a little less than 2 hours to fulfill an order, you are earning an hourly rate roughly the same or higher than the average freelancer's salary. Let's not forget that here we're talking about averages. And depending on what service you provide, a $70 order, the average amount paid for an order, may very well take less time than that to complete. The aim is to therefore ensure you are always better organized so you spend as little time as possible on each order while still guaranteeing the same level of quality. How do you do that? First tip, we recommend using Trello. Trello is a free online tool that allows you to better centralize your work-related information and optimize your workflows. Simply go to Trello.com and sign up. You will then be instructed on how to set up your very first board. Call it ComeUp Services, for example. Trello boards help you keep organized using lists and cards. Let's have a closer look at how it works. You can start off by creating several lists. These will help you easily keep track of all your orders. It's a good idea to create the following lists. Orders pending. This is for orders for which you are still waiting on the client buyer for instructions. Orders in progress. This is for orders you're currently working on. Delivered orders. For orders you have delivered but are still waiting for the buyer to confirm delivery. Completed orders. This is if you wish to keep track of all your completed orders. When you receive an order, you should create a card with the order number, the buyer's name, and a short description of the job. Feel free to automate as much as you can. The idea is that you move the card from one list to the next depending on where you're at with the order. It reflects the different steps in processing an order on ComeUp. You can also create a list where you store your buyer details. That way you can easily find an overview of everything you have done for each one. Using the same board, sort out all your services and create a list for each one. That way you can easily store all your work items, prepared messages, resources, and most importantly, step-by-step lists on how to process an order. Let's look at 2 examples to understand how it all works. I strongly recommend pausing the video whenever you need so you can follow each step for your own services and adapt the process to best suit your own offers. For example, let's say you provide Chinese-French translation services as well as a service to draft CVs in Chinese. You should therefore create 2 lists. One list for Chinese translation and one list for CV in Chinese. In each list, you first create a card where you outline the step-by-step guide for how to process an order. You can add a colored label to easily identify the service. In the card, create a checklist. It will serve as step-by-step process. To go back to our example, Chinese translation, basic 100 words, process. And CV in Chinese, basic PDF, process. You're bound to change and improve the checklist each time you optimize the way you work. It serves as a precise list of every action to be performed in order to provide the specific service. As such, the checklist should contain all the necessary info, links, etc., so that you don't have to think of anything when completing a task. It means you don't waste time getting bogged down in details as you do your job. Where to find the files you use as templates, which online tool to use, which software to use, what message to send. You simply have to follow the instructions. This shouldn't stop you from improving the processes whenever possible, but never do it when in the middle of processing an order. You may have noticed we added the word basic to the name. That's because this is the checklist for the basic offer at $5. In the first example, that means a 100-word translation for maximum take-home earnings of $4. In the second example, the low rate would be enough to cover a PDF guide on what a Chinese employer would expect in a CV, even if the CV is written in English. For each option, that requires a different process. You can create a different checklist, or you can create an additional checklist with specific actions to be carried out on top of the basic ones. After having tested each process, you can even indicate in the heading roughly how long it takes to complete the task. This gives you a time frame so you can keep track of how focused and efficient you are in processing an order. For example, that would be Chinese translation basic, process 13 minutes, and Chinese CV basic, process 1 minute. In the first case, you would have tested the process to determine how much time you need to provide a high-quality 100-word translation. In the second case, given the basic offer only involves delivering a pre-written document, it would only take you a minute to complete the order. Right, so what might the step-by-step indications look like as a checklist? It could be simply, click on the button to confirm acceptance of the order, send the message on how to download the PDF. If you have watched the previous video, you should know that this message should be already prepared and saved. Click the button, I have delivered my order. The process for your first service may start out a bit differently because, as we saw in the tutorial on how to get started on ComeUp, you have to make sure you have all the right information from your buyer before accepting their order. So, your checklist could probably start with, check that the buyer has provided everything asked for in the automatic welcome message. If no, double-check the message, making sure it covers all missing items, and send to the buyer. If the buyer has sent through all the information you need, click Confirm Order and send the order acceptance message. Move the source document to the order card here as an attachment. Enter the delivery date as a deadline on the card. Move the card to the Orders in Progress list, and keep going for the remaining steps, right up to delivery. You can also add links, shortcuts, specific instructions, and more. These steps can include tasks that are more or less complex, more or less step by step. All this is made easier by the ComeUp works. You have fewer steps to take before, during, and after an order is placed. No complicated quotes, no need to canvass buyers, no individual invoices, no chasing up unpaid invoices, no difficulties getting paid, and so on. It goes without saying that between shooting off a PDF document and providing a highly complex, tailored service that you charge several $100s does not require the same amount of work. Nevertheless, in both cases, any detail you can add to guide through each action will help streamline the process. This includes making good use of everything provided by ComeUp, such as the chat box, be it written, audio, or video. Remember, these indications aren't set in stone. They are meant to be improved and optimized whenever possible. When you receive an order, add a new card to the orders pending list. There you can add everything you need to fulfill and follow up the order. Name the card the same we just saw earlier. For example, P012345678, the order number. Smith, the buyer's username. Chinese translation, 600 words. The service ordered with options. Then, copy and paste the checklist you already created in the process card to your new order card. To do this, click Checklist, then Copy Items From. You can then copy the processes that fit the chosen service and options. Put a deadline to accept the order. It must be within 2 days following buyer payment. Then add a label to identify the service and, once the order has been confirmed and is being processed, add the delivery date before moving the card to the Orders in Progress list. The card is a readily accessible place to store all the documents and information you need to work on the order. Have you completed the order? You can then move the card to the Delivered Orders list. If your buyer requests a revision and you accept, put the card in the Orders in Progress list with an updated delivery date. Also, remember to add any possible revision work to your processes and checklists. There is so much you can do with Trello. Take the time to get to know it and optimize all your processes. But what about the preset messages you send to buyers? How can you streamline that? Simply by creating more cards in your list of services. Let's go back to a process we were working on just before. Let's start with the one with the link to the PDF document. To deliver this type of document, you can either drop it directly in the ComeUp chat box, or have it already stored online via Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, or any other file sharing system. You may find option 2 more convenient, as it means you won't have to repeat steps, such as dropping files one by one in the chat box, especially when sending multiple files. So, create a card in the service list which you call Order Confirmation Acceptance Message. Add a label, keyword, or category relating to the service. In the card description, you add the delivery message text. All you have to do is add the direct link to this card to the corresponding action in the process checklist. So when you receive an order for that particular service, you can complete it in just a few clicks by copying the text and pasting it into the chat box. You can now create more cards for each message that you're likely to send with their respective links. Hello, I confirm that I have accepted your order. It will be delivered within X days. I'm at your disposal if you have any questions, and I'll keep you informed about my progress. Have a great day. You can also use the comments section to add different versions of the main message. You have your standard message, but you can then have a version you use for loyal customers, for a buyer you are on familiar terms with, for a buyer whose order was complicated, and so on. Sure, it takes a while to set up, but it'll save you time down the line. As a general rule, any task you're likely to perform more than twice is an ideal candidate for being turned into a process that is easier, faster, and more streamlined, so you can do it all without having to think about it or remember each individual step. Not only will it make your life much easier in the long run, but it will also make you more productive and improve your relationships with your buyers. Managing orders doesn't have to be messy. The more streamlined it is, the more profitable you can be. We guarantee that if you apply these basic principles, create processes and workflows, and prioritize your tasks, your work is going to be so much more relaxing. Streamlining your processes is a great way of increasing your capacity to take on more orders, And we really hope you get to a point where you can't optimize any further. If you get to that point and you can't take on any more orders, bear in mind you can always take down one of your services with a simple click. Taking down a service doesn't impact your current orders or your ranking. You simply put a hold on any new orders from being placed, and the service no longer appears in search or category results. What if a long-standing buyer reaches out? If you wish, you can reactivate the service just for their order. Imagine you just had a really busy stretch. It takes just a few seconds to reactivate services you'd put on hold while waiting for things to calm down. ComeUp has everything you need to properly manage an order once you've accepted it. There are plenty of tools to help you satisfy your buyers' requests without unnecessary stress while building up a solid reputation, so use them. Also, don't forget to join the ComeUp community. There, you're sure to find buyers, other service providers, business partners, support, and advice. The community is active in two main areas: the ComeUp Discord channel and the seller page. It's great when you have questions about ComeUp or want to ask for advice from other sellers. Regularly putting in the time and effort to engage with the community is always appreciated by others and helps boost your exposure. The best sellers on ComeUp are all aware of it. The more you engage in those spaces where sellers tend to gather, people will more readily recognize your name and your specialty area. By leaving comments, you give others insight into your passion and your skill set. Other sellers may also be in need of the sorts of services you provide to run their business. They're more likely to reach out to you if they've seen you interacting with others in a cordial, professional way. Check out the sales menu where you have links to the seller page and the Discord server. The seller page, as its name suggests, is a forum reserved for sellers. You are automatically signed up to it when you post a service on the website. There you have all the latest info about ComeUp, help from other sellers, advice, and so on. You can offer special services that are specific to the ComeUp community, or even just talk about anything you want. When you're self-employed and working alone, it's also nice to just talk about lighter topics with your peers. It's what helps create a tight-knit community between sellers. Let's now talk about the Discord server. It's an online chat forum. The general vibe is both serious and good-natured fun. The ComeUp team, along with the top sellers, are all very engaged with it. It is the perfect place to be part of those that are in the know and understand the ComeUp spirit. It's true, ComeUp is a little different from other websites. There is a real sense of community, one that the website's administrators really care about. This is why we have added a page full of deals just for our sellers. You'll find it in the sales section. ComeUp has negotiated a selection of great deals ranging from discounts on tools and services to training sessions that are there to help our community of sellers. There are also free coaching sessions for sellers. Here they can get tips from ComeUp moderators on how to improve their services. Obviously, in return for getting all these extras, sellers must abide by a few basic rules. So you know where you stand, there is a fundamental document you need to know and remember: the Seller's Charter. You'll find it in the FAQ section in My Account and Profile. It is broken down into 15 commandments that are essential in ensuring long-term business on the platform. You really should read and take heed of the charter so as to avoid any mistakes that may damage your chances of success on ComeUp. These rules are there just as much to protect you and your reputation as that of all the other sellers on the platform. People acting up actually hurts everyone because buyers end up generalizing and see their bad experience as being the fault of ComeUp and not the seller who may have been rude and disrespectful. So make sure you know and abide by the rules. It'll help you and everyone else at the same time. Our teams are always there to help you should you need it. So you see, ComeUp is a great community where even sellers can become buyers. Obviously, the website is open to everyone. There are hundreds of thousands of visitors every month looking for a service provider to help them out. With the massive inflow of prospective buyers that's always growing, you don't necessarily need to go out and look for new buyers. But if you are a registered business or self-employed and want to reach a large number of sales with really high rates for your average order value, you shouldn't just sit back and wait for people to come to you. You have to do everything you can to make your business grow. This means working on your brand recognition, so to speak. And this is where social media can help. When you talk about social media, you tend to think of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on. But when your buyers are businesses, being active on LinkedIn, the social network for professionals, is a great idea. LinkedIn has more than 830 million users worldwide. Obviously, when using LinkedIn, you have to show your best features. Everything you do, say, and post has to be in line with your skill set and what you have to offer other professionals also using LinkedIn. Be meticulous with your profile. Use wording that is positive and exciting. Highlight key aspects of your experience, training, education, and even buyers you've already worked with. If you already have an image or logo that you use on ComeUp, use the same for your profile picture. That way, buyers who see you first on LinkedIn will recognize you straight away. Be active on LinkedIn, join groups, and create contacts. Even with their free plan, you can create your own company page on LinkedIn. Simply click Tools in the main menu, then on Create a Company Page. When setting up your new page, remember to use your graphic charter. Use the same colors, fonts, and overall style as you did when making your thumbnails and banner on ComeUp. Be very mindful of each step in setting up a company page on LinkedIn. For example, that means using the same logo as the one on your ComeUp profile. Any photos you use have to be good quality, and prospective buyers need to feel your passion when reading the About section. On your LinkedIn company page, you can also create showcase pages. They have pretty much the same design as the company page, though showcase pages are intended to highlight a specific brand, product, or service. So it's a great way to present each of your services individually. You can even add a direct link to each service on ComeUp. You can also publish your latest achievements, customer reviews, and new options, and so on. All you need to do is go into Admin Tools and select Create a Showcase Page. Here again, giving exposure to something that isn't top quality would be counterproductive. Make sure you use high-quality images and proofread your text before publishing. Always check for spelling mistakes. Let's not forget that LinkedIn is a form of social media. You have to engage with your target audience with interesting articles, comment on the other people's posts, and show that your input to various groups is relevant. Being active on the website will help attract potential brands and grow your profile. Whether you work mainly for companies or individuals, mainstream social media is also worth investing time into. On Facebook, for example, you can create a business page just like the one on ComeUp. It's very easy to do. Obviously, you have to be a member of Facebook. First, go to Pages on the Homepage menu, then Create New Page, then just follow the step-by-step instructions. Take time setting up your page. Make sure you upload a good quality cover picture that is either the same or similar to the one used on ComeUp. Add a button that links to your current ComeUp profile page. Just like with LinkedIn, make sure you are regularly posting interesting content, customer reviews, examples of your work, and share tips that are specific to what you do. Basically, show people you are professional and nice to work with. You can always get help from a community manager. There are plenty of services on offer in the community management section on ComeUp. Bear in mind that you have to have a business page on Facebook if you want to pay for ads. Advertising on Facebook can be very effective in attracting quality leads to your ComeUp service, but it comes at a cost where you pay per click. You really have to make sure you get everything just right so you're not wasting your hard-earned money. The aim of Facebook advertising isn't to boost your profile. It's more about generating more sales. So how a campaign performs is easily measurable. Start off with your best service, if you have more than one, that is. It should be the one you sell the most, with the largest number of satisfied buyers. You can always start with a very small budget, like $5 per day. By following our instructions, you will be given a very clear understanding of the value generated by each ad or set of ads whenever they convert directly into an order being placed on ComeUp. Remember, you need to first set up your business page on Facebook. To do this, log on to Facebook, go to business.facebook.com to set up an account. The process is guided, and as soon as you have a business account, you can open your ad account. This is done via the Meta Business Suite homepage. You can add your business page with its own ad account. Here again, it's a very easy process to follow. You'll then have access to your Ads Manager. Before creating an ad, you need to install what is known as a metapixel. It is a piece of code that tracks what happens when you do things via Facebook. Here, it is used to identify those people who check out your services and those who then place an order. In your Events Manager, you can connect data sources. With ComeUp, you don't need to hire a web developer to install the code. Once you've created it via the Facebook Ads Manager, ignore the complex lines of code and choose Install Code Manually. You will be given a 15-digit number. Then go to your ComeUp interface. In the Marketing tab, you will find a Metapixel ID text field. Simply paste the 15-digit code and click Save My Information. After a short while, you will begin to see data on the number of page views, view content, the number of orders initiated, initiate checkout, and the number of actual orders placed, purchase, on your Metapixel on Facebook. You even get details on how many visits land on each service. This sort of data is a great way to monitor how your business is growing on ComeUp. The pixel will record everything related to your services and will be a vital tool in managing your Facebook ads. However, don't rush things. Wait until you're ready before advertising on Facebook. How long should you wait? Take the time to complete a few orders and get some positive reviews on ComeUp so you don't waste your money advertising a service that people just aren't interested in. Are you already getting sales through natural page visits? Or are you already getting clients thanks to your promotional work with prospecting, emailing, and communicating via social media? If you're failing to convert people who engage with your posts and comments into a sale, then it's going to be even harder when cold prospecting people attracted by an ad, but who do not actually know you yet. So you should only start advertising when you are sure you can convert a lead into a sale, when buyers have left reviews, and when you know your service descriptions and images are effective. It takes time to work with different buyers and learning from your mistakes before you'll be ready. So make sure you have a great description, use good quality thumbnails, add a video if need be, communicate across all available media, work through your different services and pricing. Do this before you take your business up a level with paid traffic. 100 completed sales is a perfect target to reach. It's quite a large number, and it should help motivate you. Also, once you reach 100 sales, you are allowed to use one of Facebook's fantastic features, lookalike audiences. You need to have at least 100 individual buyers in order to use the lookalike audience feature. Facebook's artificial intelligence will look at the characteristics of everyone who showed interest in your services and placed an order. Facebook will use that data to show your ads only to those people who share similar characteristics with your existing buyers. Obviously, your audience isn't everything. Your ad has to be clear and impactful. Clear because you don't want people clicking your ad out of curiosity just because they didn't get the message. Remember, you pay for each click. Impactful because you don't want those who would be interested in your offer to scroll past and not click. It is then up to your service description to convert the potential buyer into an actual one. Start out with a very small budget ad of say $5 to $10 a day. Feel free to have multiple ads on Facebook using different images, slightly different texts, with or without emojis, to vary your call to action. The detailed stats will help you then choose the most effective ads. Keep a close watch on the most important metric of all, your ROAS, or Return on Ad Spend. It represents the ratio between the amount of money spent on advertising and the revenue it generates. If the number is less than 2, you need to change the ad's message, visuals, or target audience. Once you improve the ratio, you can then gradually increase the amount you spend on ads, thereby boosting your overall sales on ComeUp. You now know how to create a Facebook ad campaign for your ComeUp services and how to monitor key metrics through the use of a metapixel. If you want, you can also invest in Google Ads. These are the ads displayed at the top and bottom of search results when using Google. They are indicated by the small ad icon and are non-organic search results, or paid search results. In fact, you've certainly noticed on ComeUp's marketing page the text fields, Google Conversion ID and Google Conversion Label. These have pretty much the same purpose as the metapixel. If you want, you can link yourself to sets of keywords. Just sign up to ads.google.com and follow the sign-up process to set up an ad campaign. But the point we want to make is that you can also monitor the results of your Google ad campaign. All you have to do is go to the Google Ads conversion tracking section and find the Google Tag Manager tool. It will generate both the Google Conversion ID and Google Conversion Label. You just copy and paste them into their respective text fields on ComeUp. You'll then receive accurate tracking data on the impact of your Google Ads campaigns. This is a great advertising tool when using keywords that have little competition but have a high potential. Seeing as we're talking about keywords, it's time to talk about SEO, or search engine optimization. ComeUp has been well designed with SEO in mind. Quick to load, well structured, reputable. It's a prime location for online services, as internet users looking for your skills are likely to be directed here. But that means you too have to think SEO when writing your service description. First up, what keywords used in Google searches are likely to lead to your service? Once you've identified these keywords, you can then insert them into your service description, its title and subheadings. You should also use terms that are related to these keywords. We'll see more about that later. A word of warning: a keyword is not necessarily a single word. On the contrary, you're better off using keywords that contain 3 or 4 terms each, or even more. For example, don't go for logo or even logo design, but company logo design, cheap logo design, or fast logo design. The advantage is that in using fast logo design, you also cover logo design. Make a list of 30 keywords that your buyers are likely to use to find you. Add in keywords with only 2 terms, like logo design, as we saw in the example. You'll see later on how it can help you find other keywords you may not necessarily have thought of. For the time being, follow your own intuition, using what you know about your industry, your target audience, and your service. Once you have your list of keywords, we recommend using an online tool like Ubersuggest or keywordplanner.net. Enter the keywords on your list. Take logo design, for example. After a short wait, the website will give you an estimate of the number of monthly searches and other useful information, like an estimate of cost per click if you were to choose that keyword for Google Ads. It also gives some ideas for other keywords based on your original search. That way, you can test all the keywords you've listed and compare it with what the website suggests. If you use Ubersuggest, focus on keywords that have high search volumes, but with a low SEO difficulty figure. Both websites give the option of downloading the list of keywords in CSV format. It is a file that you can open with a spreadsheet program like Excel, Google Sheets, or Apple Numbers. Add to the list using the interesting results you get by testing each keyword from your original list. Take the time to test keywords that are related to your service. This includes terms you might use when describing your work, your product, or your buyers. Then add them to your documents as you go. These terms aren't necessarily the ones you leverage to boost your service's position in search engine results. But by simply adding them to your text, you help Google better identify what it's about. The search engine algorithm will boost your ranking if you properly structure the language used for your service. Your description must include a maximum of words that relate to your field. Avoid words that have little meaning, that have little to do with what you're selling or what your buyers need. Also, avoid using metaphors and words with multiple meanings. Search engine optimization is not just useful for Google, but all search engines, including the one used on ComeUp. To give you a more telling example, say I want to promote my logo design service with the emphasis on a fast turnaround time. If I write, "Don't have time to sit around waiting to receive your logo? Use my service and you'll get it in no time." I'll help choose what's best for you and give you a first draft within 24 hours. Then a second one the next day. I look forward to talking to you soon to lock in your order. Bear in mind that Google's little bot working behind the scenes doesn't think like a human. Does this description talk more about logo design or a schedule? Be mindful of how you word things. Use language that is specific to your field. Remember the previous tutorial where we saw how to use bold and italics to highlight keywords that are related to your main keyword. Also, avoid repeating words that are often searched for. Another feature we touched on in the previous video, section and subsection headings, can also feature keywords. But never forget that your target audience are still real people. If the use of a keyword makes something sound odd, don't do it. Also, remember to optimize the heading for your service. This is probably the most important text you have to nail for both your buyers and search engines. Also, remember to optimize the heading for your service. This is probably the most important text you have to nail for both your buyers and search engines. This is where you have to use the most important keyword or words. Why? Because this is the main text used in search engine rankings. Last of all, search engine optimization isn't only achieved through ComeUp. You can improve your rankings by adding links to your service on top quality websites, when commenting on blogs, on your social media, on forums, in blog posts, interviews, and on websites like Medium, Reddit, or Quora. All of this will help boost the number of views your service receives from people coming from search engines. How do you keep track of it all? Well, if you have a ComeUp Plus plan subscription, head over to your ComeUp dashboard. Here, your statistics include all of the important data to help you track how your services are performing. You can view the data for all or just one of your services. You can also look at the stats for this month or any other period. You can break it down by hour, day, week, or month. If you want to carry out more in-depth analysis of your stats, you can even export it as a CSV file that you can use in a spreadsheet. Let's take a closer look at your dashboard. The first chart shows the number of sales and how much you earned. The second chart shows the number of times the thumbnail image for your services was shown to a visitor, whether it was on the homepage, in ComeUp search results, or in one of the categories, or on your seller profile. The click-through rate shows the number of times the thumbnail was shown compared to how many people clicked it. The third chart is about the unique visits to your service page. It shows the number of buyers who viewed the page, as well as the conversion rate. This is an important stat to keep an eye on. It indicates how convincing your offer is, as it denotes the percentage of buyers who actually placed an order out of all those who saw it. Down at the bottom of the page, you are given a list of source websites for all those people who landed directly on your page from outside ComeUp. You are shown how many visits came from search engines, social media, or links located on partner websites. You are also given the bounce rate, or the ratio of visitors who arrive directly on a given page and leave ComeUp without going to other pages, along with the average duration. You also have the conversion rate with a breakdown according to where the person came from. All this data helps you determine which parts of your service and your page need improving. The same applies to your seller stats on your ComeUp profile and your service page once you have 5 completed sales. We've already mentioned how important they are. They help buyers understand you are available, serious with your work, and professional. They also help you improve both your services and you as a service provider. You can leverage the data to identify those areas you need to work on. If your rate for respecting deadlines is low, let's say below 85%, you may have a problem keeping organized, or with how you process orders, or maybe the timeframes you set for either the basic service or for the options are too short. You're better off giving yourself longer deadlines than delivering work late. As for your response time, don't forget, it's an average. Of course, you have to sleep at some point. If someone contacts you at midnight, you aren't necessarily going to reply straight away. But imagine you respond 10 hours later. All you have to do is respond to the next request within 2 hours for your average response time to drop to just 6 hours. Or maybe your response time is high, but that's because you don't work on certain days or at certain times. There's a simple solution to all this that we saw in the previous tutorial. Have a pre-written reply you can quickly shoot off to a buyer saying you'll get back to them as soon as you have more time. These stats impact your service's ranking within its chosen category as well as in search results on ComeUp. So it's important to keep an eye on them. But remember, they're only one aspect of what the algorithm looks at. The most important part of a good ranking is selling as much as possible and for as high a price point as you can. Let's keep looking at ways to improve your stats. First up, your order acceptance rate, which, as you know, is linked to the number of cancellations made by you or your buyer before an order is accepted. Most of these cancellations are due to a buyer not properly understanding what you're offering. It can be infuriating because you thought your description was clear enough as is. If one person doesn't understand, it may be a sign that it's not clear. However, if a second buyer misunderstands, then it's up to you to do something about it. Each of these cancellations should be a red flag. What can you do better so it doesn't happen again? Maybe you cover a particular point earlier on in your description, or in more detail, or by highlighting it more. The list goes on. If, as a rule of thumb, you take each canceled request as being due to something you can explain better or improve, and you act on it, then you'll see a significant increase in your order acceptance rate. Last but not least, the completion rate. Imagine you book an appointment with your hairdresser, and you don't really know what you want done. You hesitate. You change your mind. You're a bit on edge and a pain to deal with. But you don't necessarily realize it because you have other things on your mind. Imagine your hairdresser gets fed up with you and kicks you out halfway through. How would you take it? Would you go back again, even if you realized later you were in the wrong? Well, that's kind of what a buyer feels like when you accept an order, then cancel it just because you can't see eye to eye. They may never return. They may never call on you or even another seller on ComeUp again. If you follow our advice from the previous tutorial, you should have everything you need to get the job done once you've accepted an order. Nothing should stop you from completing it. If you are in the wrong and can't deliver on what you promised, make a gesture of goodwill, of your own accord. Offer the buyer a one-off partial discount on the order. This could be all it takes to get out of a sticky situation. If, however, you have upheld your end of the deal, talk about it with the buyer and discuss new delivery terms if needed. But do not cancel the order just because you're afraid of a bad review. Communicate with your buyer in a clear, calm, and polite manner. If they ask for the order to be canceled through a dispute, let the mediators of ComeUp deal with it. With everything you have learned from our 3 tutorials, you have everything you need to succeed. These few basic principles will help you run your ComeUp business like a pro. In fact, if you haven't yet created your company, how do you know when to take the plunge? From a legal point of view, you probably have to register your business as soon as it starts to bring in a steady flow of income. So having tested the waters, you know you can leverage your skills to grow your income. We strongly recommend you take the next step and register your business or go self-employed. Wherever you may be, register your business or create your micro-enterprise to take advantage of added benefits. In America, for example, registering your business may have legal and tax benefits and additional personal liability protection. Depending on your location and business structure, you can determine how you'll need to register your business. After determining these factors, registration can be very straightforward. Find out what options are available and register your business or micro-enterprise. Once you're registered, you can indicate that you are a professional in your descriptions, which you can't do if you're not a registered business or self-employed. When you operate as a professional, ComeUp will issue invoices on your behalf and add professional seller to your profile. Buyers can also choose to only view profiles and services offered by certified professionals. This is a huge advantage in terms of your credibility. Once you are a well-established professional with plenty of experience and able to do your own invoicing, it's time to spread your wings. Seek out buyers on other platforms, maybe even create your own website. Sure, we'd love to keep you around as an active member of our community for as long as we can, but what matters most to us is just being part of you gaining independence, helping you turn your passion into income online. That is our final wish for you as we bring the series of tutorials to a close. We put our all into it, and we hope it'll help you on your path to success. See you soon on ComeUp.